Hello, this is Dale Matthews, and I'm joined rather slowly and carefully by Mike Jones this evening.
Yes, by me. And that's because I have a really bad internet connection tonight. And I've been running tests on it all afternoon, and it's running down there in the lower end of the spectrum. So the fact that I'm here and you're seeing me at all is quite miraculous.
It is, and it's amazing to me that we're able to do this show uh, using free access to the internet. Well, not free, we both have to pay for it, but it's amazing that the heavy lifting is
Yes.
done by Google.
Yes.
Now, we're going to be patient with each other, and because there's a bigger lag than usual, you see over my shoulder is this indicator of speed, and Mike says, I wish I had that much speed because this is down about like this, almost a flat line.
Yeah. No, I'm way down. Yeah, no, it's really low. It's to for people who know when you're running a bandwidth test, I'm getting like point 3, point 4 megabits per second. So it's on the lower end, and sometimes it drops down as as low as dial up. So you may see my video pardon me, disappear and my little icon replace it at some point here. It's just really bad. So
Well, as you know, I can talk even without Mike, but I'd prefer not to because he's you. I mean, he is the person. I go to the meetings. We've got a deal. I go to the
oh,
meetings and I come back and I talk about the meetings.
they're gonna be happy to hear that they're me. I'm sure there's some people that don't like that characterization of
No,
their
what I
character.
mean is I go to the meetings and then I come back from the meetings and then Mike says, so what happened? And I tell him he's patient enough to listen to my long-winded explanations, except for today, he went to the meeting also, the big meeting of the week. This is the big one, Thursday. But just before we get into what happened at Thursday's meeting, and there's some very interesting things, most of them of which happened in the hallway and not in the little back room itself. But just before we talked about that, I want to share why I detest the Daily Courier. You do? Yes. I'm just going to share with you the
Yeah, it's shocking.
headline from page 5 of the Daily Courier. Now, Mike, you were at yesterday morning's weekly business session. Let's wait for his answer.
Yes.
That's a long leg time. Holy. Okay. All right.
I'm
So
sorry. I'm sorry.
we were trying to experiment earlier to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes. Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
here is the headline from the Daily Courier, page 5, about funding for the sheriff. See which of this you agree with, Mike. The first half says county approves budget.
Mm-hmm. Right.
See, our timing is a little off. That's okay. That's okay. The second half said road funds won't go to sheriff.
Right. Yes. Yes, that also is accurate.
Well, no, yes, but that's not what they agreed upon. They did not agree that road funds won't go to sheriff. Now, that may be our opinion. That's certainly Cheryl's opinion.
Yeah,
But
they
this is
pretty
not.
much did. Yeah.
This
Oh
is
no, they all
not.
did. They all.
No, now you're blowing my theory. Okay, my
Oh
theory is
yeah. Oh
that
yes. You know what? Listen, I know that you have this belief that they're going to have to knuckle under pressure. No, they're not. This is a done deal. They're not giving any of this money to the sheriff. Case closed.
yeah. Well, we'll find out about that. But that wasn't. Yeah, you'll do what? You'll buy me a soda? Okay, all right. Look,
Yeah,
here's
this
the
is
point. This
really bad.
this was not an editorial. This was the news story. You can't write in a news story, road funds won't go to sheriff. It's like writing in a news story, this is a bridge to nowhere. That may be an opinion, but that's not the news story. That's not news. That's not factual. We don't. I know this is what Mike believes. I got that. And a number of other people believe that. It's not what the sheriff believes. Doesn't what the sheriff believe have something to do with reality? Well, we didn't always see that during the election for the levy, but still, that's not, you can't write that as part of the news story.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sure, you can't.
Oh, yeah, well,
This
I'm
is
not trying to
awful.
turn
It's
you into a
really,
puppet or something.
it's
Come
really
on.
bad.
Okay, all right. So when I say Mike's getting darker and darker, and sometimes when the picture goes to him, it's just black. Okay, so Mike's actually a white guy, but he portrays himself as a black guy occasionally. Okay, so
Oh no, you've got it flipped around. It's the opposite.
okay, all right. So um, one of the things that we did today was we did yet another test. We're not going to show you the test. I mean, I can't show you all the tests. It's boring, but except to us. So we did another test of doing the little backroom meeting. This time, the admin workshop where no one can ask any questions. It's just the commissioners blathering on for a couple of hours. And Mike got a real good introduction to what that's like. And we did it. We did a test of a live broadcast, a live webcast from back there. And I think one of the funny things was that this little live test using a cell phone, and it's pretty good video. It could probably be a little better. This little live test, that part didn't last much more than about a minute or something. Well, we've got a well wisher that's on that comes and sees all of our videos. Whoever this person is, we've got a couple of them, and some of them seem to be very nice. But this one sees things as soon as we put it up, immediately. It doesn't matter if we do the show a little early, like we've done
Yes.
sometimes in the past. And so this person comes on during a test. It's just a test, and after the first couple of seconds, they hit dislike. What's to dislike? It's just a test.
Yeah. I think they just want to come in and dislike all of our videos. I mean, it reminds me of that gal that was at the weekly business session there yesterday, who characterized this small little microcosm of the populace that's controlling the meetings and causing this sway of public opinion one way or the other. And just totally out of her mind in that respect. But she may well be coming to all of our videos and disliking them. Who knows? It's somebody like that, you know. Hey, well, please write us a comment. Tell us who you are so we can wave to you as we're seeing you on the street or something, you know.
It's amazing to me. You know, we can tell when people come in right away. And one of the statistics that shows up on my control screen is that, you know, I'm not the techie guy in this group, although I did program all this. This is not done with some kind of special program that does it for you. I did this by hand. All of this stuff that's by hand. And then whenever I run into problems, I ask Mike, and then he comes in and rescues me. But and I've been doing this for years.
Yeah, he did that with a hammer and a chisel.
Right, from the original cuneiform clay tablets. Okay, so
that's right.
I just like a little bit more control over it. I got involved in that early because I came here and I'd always designed websites, and then someone else would do the programming. And I came to Grants Pass, and it was ending up all wrong. And why is this wrong? Well, I discovered, I went in and looked at the code, and I didn't know what I was looking at, but they had misspelled the word yellow. They couldn't spell yellow. So I thought, forget this. So I sat down with the book. And I started teaching myself, teach yourself how to do things in 24 hours or whatever. And I said, well, okay, now a lot of that makes sense. Click, 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 and, you know, so now I'm programming my own. Anyway, so we did this test. And what we found in the past is that some people, we'd have sometimes as many as 3. We never have any dislikes. Okay, watch now. Oh, here's a roaring, you know. Okay, so, but people
no,
in,
you don't have to worry about that, Dale, because they never watch this far into the video. It's only the first few seconds. If we were talking about this in the first few seconds, then you could worry about it, but not now.
That's a good point. What happens is they'd come in, and you could see from the readout, the statistics, that they're only there for a couple of seconds. I dislike this. How can you dislike it? It just, or, but my favorite one, the funnier one, is remember the show that we had that was all screwed up because Google goofed it up and it was all over the place. And one person talked to me and said, I was having a hard time understanding. Well, no wonder, because part three was first, and then it's followed by part two, and then followed by five, and then seven, and then back to one. It wasn't making a lot of sense, less sense than usual. And this person said, well, I watched it, and then but several people liked it. How can you like that? I disliked it.
Yeah, and
I clicked
it
on
got like
dislike.
100 views.
It's crazy.
Yes.
We've got one of our ad shows,
Go
and the
figure.
ad shows are usually smaller because it's just audio and it's just me and blah blah. Okay, but our heart's in the right place, and we've had some of those ad shows, just the ads, that have like 500 hits, 500 views, all kinds of likes. Really? That's kind of amazing to me. I didn't think it was going to be that popular. I just have no explanation for it. Well, speaking of no explanation, so Mike this time he's sitting out in the hallway with me. Now you need to sit out in the hallway, waiting for the door to open, and things have gotten worse now that the commissioners have been getting in a lot more trouble. This deal with Keith Heck and being caught in ex parte conversation uh, before a land use hearing. And then Cheryl and Simon revealed as sending a protest letter to the state protesting something where they're directly involved in a business together or in the same business. This is very bad. This is state come down on your head kind of stuff, and they never do that, but they're considering it now because they've been literally completely breaking the law and enough to be noticed by the state. We've been telling you for years, but now even the state, and they never pay attention. Well, so things are getting worse and getting into the room. What's this about? Okay, so what's happening is it used to be that you'd go and you'd sit on these hard benches out in the hallway. Big deal. You don't have to do it. I do. To get the privilege of going in and sitting for 2 hours and listening to them talk, and you can't say a word. You can just listen with your hands folded on your lap. Just be good boys. Okay. So now instead of opening up like 15 minutes ahead of time, because I got a couple of pieces of equipment to set up. Now they'll start talking before they open the door. Really? Do you really need to be that snarky about this? Is that absolutely necessary? Well, apparently it is. So Mike got a chance to see that. I'm going to ask his opinion in a second because, see, he can't respond to anything I'm saying because he's got such a long lag time. This is beautiful. So we're sitting out there, and and we're waiting, and he gets a chance to see who I usually am sitting there with, and I'm usually sitting there with a guy and his wife, and she's amazing, but she's the one that said, you don't even have a website. She's still convinced there's no website. You're not watching anything. Do you realize that you're imagining all of this night after night? There's no website. This is not a website. You don't have a website. She's serious. Seriously deranged. Okay. You don't have a website, Mr. Matthews. I don't know what to say to people like that. Okay, and then there's another guy that comes, and those three people are there to support Keith Heck. And these are the kind. And here's a picture of the guy. So Mike's going to show you the picture.
Yeah.
One guy there.
Yeah,
Now,
this is the guy. He was Dale was sitting at the end of the bench. I was in the middle, and then this guy was the next guy over. And I came in and I showed Dale on my cell phone. I go, look, Jan just sent me this video that Channel 10 had put out from the weekly business session the day before. And I told him some of the people that were in the video. It shows Cheryl, it shows, Margaret Goodwin, it shows Vivian, and then this guy piped in because Vivian had brought up at the beginning of her little spiel, she brought up this horrible murder this double murder that took place. And so anyway, this guy was sitting there, and he mentioned that the people who were murdered were Levy supporters, and how it was too bad that they weren't anti-Levy people. And I was stunned.
Yeah, and see, these are the people I have to sit with waiting to get into this room. They are there to back up Keith Heck and anything that he says. I mean, these are the kinds of people who are saying things like, what a brave person that Keith Heck was, that he took on that awful Dale Matthews and Mike Jones, who tried to say that they recorded him correctly when, as everybody knows, they just were doctoring the video to make Keith look bad. They believe this. They believe this? Keith Heck seems to believe it. Oh, I never said anything bad. You just doctored the video. Is he still saying this? Well, he's still saying he wasn't involved at all in kicking off the levy. He'll repeat that at every meeting ad nauseum. And people out in the audience are laughing. You're laughing. Well, yeah, because we've seen the video. Okay, but it doesn't matter to this kind of folks. So this guy says, yeah, well, that Vivian, she's a cow. She's a cow? Brother, what are you saying? Yeah, and it's too bad she wasn't killed. Oh, really? Look, it's not true that everybody that supported the levy has something wrong with them. Okay, there's plenty of people who thought, well, that seems like the way to go. And what we were saying is we want the sheriff to get, no, you don't. This guy was telling us in the hallway, no, the people who were against the levy, they're all saying that they don't want law enforcement. No, we weren't. We were saying the opposite, but we were saying we didn't want the commissioners controlling any of the money, which they wouldn't get to do with this money they now don't want to spend because they don't get the 10% skimmed off the top.
Yeah, you know what? I was just blown away that anybody would say that, because you know what? I know a lot of people that are levy supporter people who I disagree with about the levy, but I would never say that. I would never even think that I would want to have them be murdered in a home invasion robbery. I mean, that is just unbelievable that anybody would even have that idea in their heads, or have that much hatred for people who hold another political viewpoint from what you hold. I just, that's amazing to me. It's just amazing.
Mike, talk just a little bit more, would you? I'm going to try to fix some technical thing here with the website. I need to put it back in your hands for a moment, please. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, yes. And listen, this is not the first guy that has had this sort of attitude. We experienced it all throughout the campaign on social media. You'd have really, really nasty people coming in. Listen, I wanted to keep the debate to factual things, and people would come in and just throw in these nasty, hyperbolic scenarios, and no, it was really, I'm so glad that the whole campaign is over. But this guy knocked me for a loop there with his thought that maybe anti-levy people should be the victim of a murder or something, so then maybe some of these other anti-levy people might start taking law enforcement seriously, or just very, very disturbing that would have taken place. And then after they opened the door and let us in, and one of the first things that I wanted to do was take my little tape recorder, and it's really not very big. It's not much bigger than this little thing here. And I asked the chair, Keith Heck, I said, can I set this on the table? Because I just wanted to, test getting our own audio, and it's not unprecedented. The TV stations, whenever they come into the little back room over there, they allow them to put a wireless microphone on the desk so that they can get good audio of the proceedings there. And Keith Heck said to me, No, you can't. But thanks for asking. He can't help himself. He has to be snarky and witty, or what he thinks is witty. Anyway, is that enough for you, Dale? For crying out loud!
Well,
I know what
sorry,
he's doing
Mike,
over
I'm
there.
trying
He's
to fix
modifying the
something.
website with a hammer and chisel.
I am. It's this thing about
Yes.
you know. Okay, now I got to see. Oh man, I
What's
don't
wrong
know
with that
why.
guy?
Please stand by. Please stand by. Why does it say please stand
Oh.
by?
Or well, press the play button.
There wasn't any play
Is that
button.
where you modifying the link?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
there's no play button. I don't know. Is it because of your low bandwidth? I hope not. And it says,
No, it has nothing to. As
I'm
much
kidding.
as you'd like to blame it on me, Dale.
I'm kidding. Well, that's weird.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
okay. Well, let's see. We've never
Yeah.
done this
Oh,
before.
that's-
I'm
well,
playing our show while we're live on the
would
air.
that
It
have
says
had-
please stand by. It's
Would
weird.
that have had a thumbnail? I don't know that it would have had a thumbnail already.
That's very strange. I don't know what's
Yeah,
happening with that.
I'm-
Well, we'll find out later. Sorry, everybody. Okay, so that's a little bit of the
We'll
internal.
find out later.
Yeah. So
Thank God that's
it
over.
would harm nothing. It was just going to put this tiny little thing on the
No.
table, and it's done by the TV stations. And
It's
the reason why is, you know what happened yesterday. Nobody could listen to the first part
It's
of
just-
the whole dang show. I mean, of their weekly business
Right.
session. All we want to do is to be able to hear.
yes, just being vindictive. That's all.
That's just, boy, that's terrible. That's terrible. It's like Sandy Castanelli. She likes to
Well,
sit in the back of the room, back there, and they decided to move the
It's not as
furniture out.
bad.
It's okay.
Yeah. So now she's sitting on a bucket.
She brought in buckets, and people enjoy sitting there with her on the buckets. I mean, that's stupid. What happened to that furniture? It's just vindictive. They put a padlock on the thing. They put no admittance or penalty of death or whatever, and they got this. They've actually got chain
Yes.
across there. Please, what are you doing? That's just sophomoric is moronic, really. God,
They love the people.
they're supposed to be public servants, but this is stupid. We paid for that furniture in there.
Yeah.
That's just dumb.
Now, but Keith being vindictive about not allowing me to place a tape recorder on the table is not as bad as wanting the anti-levy people to be murdered in their homes because you don't agree with their politics.
Wow. That's boy,
Yeah.
I tell you, and these are the election's over, everybody. Okay, they lost,
Yeah.
but these are the same people who you invite someone to make a presentation to your group and then try to shout them down. Why would you do that? Okay, or another time when John McCafferty, I'm telling you, these SOS meetings were filled full of people who are county employees and city movers and shakers. It's the government in these meetings. Many of them, the leaders, were government people. The president of SOS is the finance director for the city. Okay, so you go to this meeting, and John McCafferty, who's the IT director, the ones that are screwing up all of our videos at the end, Basker, instead of just sitting there and listening, because Archie Lighty said, well, we have Dale Matthews, and he's going to explain the other side, and then we'll know how to counter their arguments. I'm cool with that. Fine. Great. John McCafferty was so upset, he got up and left the room rather than even listen to anybody else. You're afraid you're going to hear something that disagrees with your worldview? Really? So much that you need to leave the room? That's John McCafferty.
Oh, there are a number of these type of people who they voice their opinions in social media, but they say, I wouldn't come to one of those weekly business sessions because I couldn't sit through public comment because those other people are out of control. Well, you know what? We sit there when the crazies from the other side get up there and say whatever it is that they're going to say. We sit there and tolerate it. You know, listen, that's part of what the country is about, is that you tolerate the opinion of those you disagree with. If you
No,
can't sit in the room and listen to it, you're pretty pathetic.
no, what the country is about is lecturing people that if they question authority, number one, they get told by ministers, local ministers, that they're Satan worshipers for, he did say that, for questioning authority. And then the second thing is the clerk, the county clerk, says that people who question this local government are morons.
Yes.
He's up for reelection. And the other person that's
Oh.
up for reelection is his close personal pal, the assessor. The assessor, really, but don't forget now, oh, what could be possibly wrong with the assessor? This Connie Roach, besides going to all the SOS meetings, which is fine, please go right ahead, and sitting out there and collecting signatures, okay, whatever. But then she tells people that when you're getting this thing on the ballot, you can bring your ballot collection sheets. I'm sorry, the sheets that you need to fill out to get it on the ballot. You can bring them to the courthouse. To the courthouse. But remember, the county government's not involved in any way. And you can bring them to my office, to her office. You mean the assessor's office? Uh-huh. And then you can turn them in at the front desk. Hey, the county government's not involved, remember? Hey, it's not involved, remember? And then we'll collect them there. So I brought this up at a weekly business session. This is what she said. I thought you said the county government's not involved. She denied saying it. Oh, no, 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 no. The first thing she did was lie. Now, she's the county assessor. If you want a county assessor that lies, well, you got one. There you go. Now, she later, well, yeah, I said that, but that's not really what I meant. That's what she was saying. Is this what you want? Really?
Well,
Okay.
and let me ask you now. Connie Roach was there at today's meeting.
Yeah.
Is this not a normal workday? What is the assessor doing there? Why are we paying the assessor to be sitting in the audience at the commissioners meeting? What is that all about? Can you just, if you're an elected official, you can go to the commissioners meeting and that's part of your job?
She generally shows up every single time they talk about anything related to a levy. Anything at all. And if it's the aftermath of a levy and now people are going to pay and pay and pay. The other thing this guy said in the hallway was, he said it straight out. What Keith X says, nobody's saying. Nobody's saying that you're going to be punished because you didn't vote for the. This guy was saying people who didn't vote for the levy need to be punished. And that's one of the reasons why this money for the sheriff is not going to happen. They need to be punished, because they didn't vote my way, his way. Nice. Wow. Oh, nobody's saying that, Mr. Matthews. You're totally wrong. Okay, all right. So the other interesting thing that happened outside of the meeting, here Wally Hicks comes in and he talks with the commissioners, usually on Thursdays, with a couple of his staff people, and is explaining some things that they've asked him about when it comes to legal matters. And one of them he talked about was the Sunny Valley sand and gravel thing. Now, on Saturday, hoping that Mike's bandwidth will be back well before Saturday, we're going to play like 11 videos for you. We've never done that before. These are short videos. Don't worry. Okay. Each of them is no longer than, 2 or 3 seconds. Well, maybe a little longer than that. And we're going to play these back for you about the Sunny Valley sand and gravel issue. So you don't need us to explain it all. In fact, you watch the show all the time and nothing but the show. You don't even watch Game of Thrones or anything else. Boy, was that disappointing. So you can come and be further educated if you wish to on Saturday. And so Mike has a still photo. Wow, that's great, Mike. What great bandwidth.
Yes. Yes. Are you talking about this one?
I'm talking about this one.
This is. Oh, okay. Yes.
Simon here is over.
Yeah, that's. He just won the lottery.
He's overjoyed for two reasons. Let's get it straight. Two reasons. One is he's happy that the county commissioners don't have to deal with the Sunny Valley sand and gravel thing on a daily basis or whatever, weekly basis anymore. According to Wally Hicks, the Land Use Board of Appeals has handed a couple of defeats to the Sunny Valley people. It's not all over, but they didn't get everything they wanted right from the get-go. The other reason he's happy is because the Sunny Valley sand and gravel people who were protesting this were handed a couple of defeats, and he was overjoyed during most of this talk. He was just so happy. Well, boy, we won't have to deal with this, and so his good friend, I guess, Andreas Bleck, may get everything he wants, and we'll explain what the issue is about that. But does this guy look happy to you? Cheryl doesn't look so happy, but she's looking like that a lot lately since she was caught with her hand in the cookie jar. Okay, but we'll talk about Cheryl and about Simon and how they may be able to cash in on pretending like they're hemp farmers, because they may get paid by the state for not growing hemp, but they have to start looking like they're growing hemp before they can be paid by the state. And guess where that money comes from? Your pocket. Woohoo!
Yay.
And all they need to do is engage in a little illegal behavior, and then they can cash in. We'll see what happens, and we'll also see if the same thing happens to Andreas Bleck. Now, this is only a guess, but there's a possibility that if he doesn't get to use all that water during a drought, and his operation is rather water intensive, that maybe he'll get reimbursed by the state for not being able to use the water. Well, everybody's cashing in on stuff, or potentially cashing in on stuff. We don't know for sure, and we're never going to see the numbers. Numbers? What numbers? As the sheriff used to say, what numbers? There are no numbers. It's all dark numbers. Okay, then I guess we're free to do our own speculation about what the numbers could possibly be, but the bottom line rule is follow the money. You've got it, Mike.
Yeah, this is really, as close to Josephine County could get to, say, insider trading.
He's a happy boy. All right, so the other thing that happened out in the hallway is I talked briefly to Nate Gowryrand. This is interesting. Now, Nate's with Community Corrections. And he asked me if I'd go into the hallway. You know what's happening now at these meetings, especially the Thursday admin meetings? People really want to talk to us, people that are in this administration. Some people don't want to talk to us, and they'd prefer that we die also, sent out by their own murder squad or somebody else's. But there are other people who really want to talk to us. And Nate said, come out here. And so we went out into the hallway, and he said, so I just suggested something. What do you think about it? What do I think about it? I didn't act that way, but I mean, really? Okay, so I gave him my impressions. Here's the deal, and maybe you'll agree that this is all smart. Right now, they have a special house that's set aside for offenders. And okay, you may think, well, just throw away the key. That's one way to do it. It is. Dress them in pink underwear. They'll like that. They might. But another way to do it is to try to get them to stop being antisocial or whatever. Hey, try it on that guy that was in the hallway, all right? And wishing that people would be murdered. That fits pretty close, in my opinion. So they've been paying $800 a month for this place that has like 3 bedrooms, 2 people for a bedroom. And so it's like 6 inmates, people that are on the path toward correction. They're sending them through role playing. Okay, how do you deal with the job interview? They don't know how to deal with a job interview. I want this job, dang it. No, that's not the way to handle this. Okay, and so they try to teach them because they didn't grow up with any of that stuff. It's not their fault since they were little kids. And maybe sometimes it is their fault. It's a little of both, probably. So he said, well, the person that's leasing this or renting this to us wants to charge $900 a month. Okay. And he says, I think, to the commissioner saying, I think it might be a good idea to buy this place instead for $125,000, 3 bedrooms, and then in the long run, we'll come out ahead. Well, before I tell you what our conversation was in the hallway, give me your first general impression, please, Mike.
Well, if they're getting a loan to buy this house and it's costing them less to make payments on the house than what they would have been paying in rent, and conceivably they may well have been paying rent over a great period of time, then this his department is not sunsetting anytime soon, then it does make some financial sense.
Well, I agree with you. Now, he was saying, what do you think about this politically? Okay, we do know some people that are involved in politics
That's
in the
another
area.
story.
And I said, well, okay, I'll give you some of my first impressions. It sounds like a logical move, but sometimes there's more repercussions than just the logic. He says, yeah. And I said, okay, so one
Yeah.
is this won't be paid off for about 12 years. I said, well, I really hadn't run the numbers. I said, it looks like about 12 years, $900 times, all those months and et cetera. And I said, so there's that. Then in addition to that, you need to keep in mind, obviously, that if you're not leasing it, then it's your responsibility or the county's responsibility to keep up the maintenance on the place. And that could be maybe a
Mm-hmm.
lot. And there's certain to be something, Mike knows, after 12 years, you're going to need to do something with this place.
Oh, during you're going to surely have to do something, unquestionably.
Yeah, I'm Dale. So the thing is that I mean, if you need to replace that roof, for example, before 12 years is up, that can be rather expensive. Okay, there's that. Then there's
Can be. Yes.
another side to it where some people may say, "What in the world is the county doing buying a house?" Yeah, I can see why some people might have that reaction, and we can't afford to keep police patrols out there, and we're buying a house for criminals. Really? It's a little hard to argue logic with people, even if it's the world's most logical thing, which it may not be. What do I know? It's a little hard to argue logic with people who have just come off of this knockdown, drag out fight about a levy and with the kind of opposition that we're getting. And now you're going to say, now, wait, put your emotions down. Now, let's be all logical. The turnaround time for that, this may not be the perfect time. It's like the sheriff. I need new vehicles. He probably does. But there are a lot of people saying, new vehicles. The timing is rotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Timing's rotten, buddy.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry. Okay. Well, but
Yeah, but
they're gonna.
you know what? They don't care. They don't care. They'll buy new vehicles. Well, why are you buying them new vehicles? You're not going to let them patrol in the vehicles. So, what is the point of the new vehicles? Oh, so they can sit over there in mothballs, and then you can sell them off later.
No, so
I
they
mean,
go
they
sit at a
they
high
had a
school.
bunch of other vehicles that they sold.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, look,
goofy.
and it wouldn't be so bad, except that the commissioners really would like to have four-wheel drive vehicles for driving around inside the city. Really. And that there's plenty of
Mm.
other people, they want four-wheel drive vehicles. And I'm going, really? Doreen Ferguson, who didn't go that far out into the hinterlands, even to look at parks, she said, well, most of my driving is around inside the city, but I need a four-wheel drive vehicle. Really? And then there's the final point. This house that they are thinking of buying belongs to Doreen Ferguson, the former parks director. It belongs to her family. And I'm saying,
Mm.
Nate, buddy, you know, some people are going to say, what are you
Yeah,
guys doing?
yeah, yeah.
That's not
It's
very.
probably selling you some white elephant at a profit.
Then again, maybe it's the world's best deal. But when you poke and poke and poke and poke at people and call them names, which Keith Heck has done, and when you make fun of them, and when you say, there's no money that's coming in from heaven, and then $1 million shows up that they hadn't expected, it has this tendency to eat away at their, I don't know, eat away at their credibility. Now, how are you going to tell people, trust us, even on something that's a good idea? Wolf, this time I really mean it. Who's going to listen? Who's going to listen?